Is it recording? Alright. Hi, I'm Mike, and this is an intro. So what we got here is my alternate take on Kaalia. Now, okay, Kaalia of the Vast is a mean deck. Everyone who's played EDH for a while has seen one, and they probably hate it. She hits hard, she hits fast, she drops bombs, and you really know that if you see her on the field, you kill that player, or you hold something in your hand to make sure they stay dead and they never get off any possible options. That said, because she's been around so long and everyone knows it, that opens up a few possibilities to play her differently. So this is my Kaalia long game. The basic start is, instead of hitting fast, you're going to hold back. Everyone sees Kaalia, but when you're not playing anything, they'll get a little cautious. If you're not ramping up quickly, they might try and see if someone else in a multiplayer setting will take you out instead. Because if someone exhausts themselves on you, they'll be easier to take out as well. You can play into that easily, though. The best way, well, at least in my opinion, is to hold threats in your hand and then use them as soon as people try and do anything. Throw off the board's momentum and use that to your advantage, because with Kaalia you can easily get something in that'll be threatening. So without any further ado, let's get to the cards. There's 3 sets I want to go through. Things that help you, things that hurt your enemies, and the fun stuff. I might be a little biased on the last one. So let's get started. First off, well, I'm an ass. Let's just put it that way. Armageddon. Yep. It's a board wipe. It'll help you because if you're playing this, you already have Kaalia out. And with no one else having lands, chances are they're not going to be able to do anything. It's a board wipe. You'll get a lot of hatred for it, so you might want to end the game really fast after this, because they'll probably hold it into the next game, any grudges they feel. But if it's going to win you the game, you might as well take it. Next. Reaver Demon. This guy's an interesting case, because I don't consider him something to play with Kaalia, because it doesn't get his effect. But he's a board wipe. You have to build up for him, so it's a little late game, but it saves your guys, or at least all black creatures, which most of yours will be, and wipes everyone else's field of most creatures. It's great to keep in your hand, but don't rely on it too much. It's a board wipe. Now, how to play this is much easier. You're going to want to hold on to him. Keep him up, don't drop him with Kaalia, and then play him maybe right before someone attacks, if you can flash him in, or during your turn to clear someone's board. Austere Command. It gives you options on what you want to destroy, so you can avoid Kaalia or get rid of sweeper armies. Just take fun and clear the enemy. Best way to use it. Planar Cleansing. Destroy all non-land permanents, when the final option is necessary. It's a 6 cost, so it's a little expensive, and 3 white, but you'll probably have the mana, because with this deck, you're going to try and build up your mana base and not become a threat, and just wipe the board continually whenever someone starts to look at you threateningly. Akroma's Wrath. Similar to that, except not nearly as all-encompassing. Artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Destroy them all, possibly with a cycling option. Blasphemous Act. The best card to get rid of a token swarm, as long as they're not pro-red. Earthquake. Also good, but not as good. Also does damage to your opponent if you have more life and you can spare it. Phyrexian Rebirth. Destroy all creatures, but it gives you a chance to get a creature in return who's even bigger. Always nice. Terminus. The best general sweeper. Puts everything at the bottom of the player's library, at least creature-wise. And it's a miracle cost, so you might cast it for less. Living Death. Early game, it wipes the board. Late game, you get all your stuff back. Both ways are worthwhile. Life's Finale. This card works so well if you know they don't have a graveyard mechanic. Just take the threats that you don't want to play against out of someone's deck and get rid of them. Nevral's Disc. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's a 4-drop, 1 activation, comes in tapped. It destroys pretty much everything you don't want. Now, I don't really like it because it shows your opponent that you can do it at any time, and while that might be a deterrent, it might also set them up to try and stop you sooner. It can go either way. I personally like things that they don't have any response to, rather than something that they want to destroy immediately. Day of Judgment. Destroy all creatures. They can be regenerated, but for a 4 cost, that's amazing. Okay, now we're getting past the board wipes into the spot removal. Path to Exile is an old staple. 1 white, exile target creature. Sure, they get a land, but that's usually worth it. Ablation, another really good card to get rid of a general. If you don't know it, get a copy and read it because it's amazing. You shuffle someone's general into a library, or a random card you don't like. It's just a permanent. That makes it so good. Well, non-land, but still. Mortify. Destroy target creature or enchantment. When you're not really sure what you want to get rid of, but you know you don't want to deal with it. Terminate. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. For that really annoying general who somehow has regeneration. Not the biggest concern, but really, for a 2-drop, it's great. Dreadbore. Yeah, it gets rid of creatures, but the Planeswalker option, especially with some of the ones that just came out from Commander 2014, it's worth having. Alright, that's the removal cards. These are the cards that will buy you time. They're fun to play, at least in my opinion, and they will gain you hate. But if you wipe the board frequently enough, it'll throw off the opponent's momentum. The next set, though, is a little different. This set will enable you, so while you're wiping the board, you can set up your hand for what you want. Increasing Ambition, for example. Not sure if you can see it because of the light, but you can use it for flashback for 2 cards and the original cast for 1. You can usually set this up to get whatever card you need to win. Diabolic Tutor, a 4-drop that lets you put a card into your hand. With Kaalia, you can usually find a bomb, or a good wipe if you need it. Beseech the Queen. It's a 3-drop, or a 6-drop if you don't have the black, which gives you options if your mana is screwed. But you have to show what you have, and you have to have enough mana to get it. It's a little limited, but if you're lacking on mana, this could easily fix your situation. Mother of Runes. This is the best protection I can think of. If she comes out and they don't kill it, she just says someone doesn't die. And it's amazing for that. Unburial Rites. Get something back from the graveyard twice. I think it's worthwhile because you're going to be wiping the board. You'll have really good things in the graveyard to get back. And Bloodspeaker. This guy is something. He's a 4-drop, and at your upkeep you can sacrifice him for a demon. Put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. And whenever a demon enters control, you get him back from your graveyard to your hand. This guy with Kaalia could easily get a lot of demons out because you'll just keep casting them. And it doesn't say demons have to be cast, they just have to be in play, or put into play. It's great for what she does. And the last group. Well, I also have a small pile up here that's lands and the artifacts that enable it, but that's more preference, and I have mine, you have yours. Take whatever balance you need. For me, though, I'm going to stick to the angels, demons, and dragons, who will adjust the game every time. So without ado, Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight. Your damage is doubled, everyone else is halves. She's an expensive card, but with Kaalia, that doesn't matter. You drop her, you win. And with enough board wipes out, she'll come out to a really empty field, where you can just wail away at your opponent. Iona, Shield of Emeria. I'm the kind of asshole who plays this, but there's been some decks, cough cough, red, that if you don't use this card, they will completely swarm you way too fast. Now, with enough board wipes, you can stall to get her, and then you drop her, and you can usually hold off your opponent if they're just doing something that can completely crush you otherwise. Archangel of Strife. If you have a few creatures out, giving them +3/+3 is really good, especially if Gisela is already out, because that's a 6-point swing right there. And defense if you need it, but mostly attack. Runescarred Demon. If you need something in your hand, you'll get it. There's really nothing to say about this guy. He's great for what he does. Master of Cruelties. Another card that I kind of feel like an ass playing. But for what he does, he's amazing. There's a combo with Kaalia where you just drop her, drop him. He hits, reduce to 1, you hit with her, game over. And if nothing else, he's a first strike death toucher, so even on defense, he's really good. Platinum Angel. You drop this, and unless they destroy it, or when they destroy it, you can't lose the game no matter what. Against some swarm decks that just rely on speed, this might be where they quit. Victory's Herald. Not the best card to drop with Kaalia, actually, because it skips her attack phase, But if you already have someone out, getting lifelink and flying, which most of your guys already have, especially the lifelink, could easily save you and pull you into a really high amount of life, which should give you options later on. Let you survive longer. Aurelia. Giving it Kaalia multiple attack phases. I don't think I need to explain why that's amazing. Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Flying Trample is nice. You could probably cast him hard just with Kaalia hitting. Or you can use his ability once she hits, and more or less just take out a lot of really good guys. And if Platinum Angel's in your hand, chances are when this hits, it's a free drop. Akroma. Now, she's not going to change the board state, but she can't be countered, and she's pro blue and white, which are really good spot removal cards. If you're in a pinch against someone who likes to play really countery spells, or a lot of control, and I have seen a few EDH decks that do that, this is the card you'll want. Teriel. I know I'm mispronouncing that. It's a good buff to block, and with the random card from a graveyard, there's a chance anything you might not like your opponent having, you might get instead, which is always awesome. Avacyn. Your stuff's indestructible. I don't need to explain why that's good, because really, if you get this out and they don't exile it, give it Shroud or Hexproof somehow, and you have a really impressive board state. Even better with all the board wipes later on. Akroma, Angel of Wrath. It's Akroma. I don't need to explain this one. It won't change the game state, but it'll give you a great blocker and someone who hits really hard. Valkyrie. I don't know how to pronounce the first name, so I won't bother. 4/5 isn't bad. Flying Vigilance isn't bad. Declaring that if you kill something this turn, it's now yours, that's amazing. Rhea. For when you want to spot removal something and immediately get it from your graveyard. Or someone destroys it and you want to get it back. It's just a great way to refill your field. Scourge of the Throne. This guy is so broken. Kaalia doesn't give you a lot of life. It has the option, but not a certainty. So chances are you won't have the most life. And getting anything that'll give multiple attack phases to Kaalia is always worthwhile. Horde Smelter. There are a lot of artifacts in EDH that you want to get rid of. This guy gets bigger for doing it. Steel Hellkite. Flying 5/5 isn't bad. The fact he can buff isn't bad. The fact that he can wipe out target mana cost and 0 is get rid of all tokens, that's amazing! Bogardian Hellkite. Hits for 5 on his own, and enters with 5 damage, with Flash, or with Kaalia. Both ways can get rid of a lot of the threats to her, and possibly take out an opponent if they're low on life. Rakdos the Defiler. The combo with Kaalia on this one is amazing. You drop her, or you get Kaalia to attack, drop Rakdos with her. They sack their permanents, but you don't have to because you skip his trigger for attack. And even then, he's a 7/6 blocker. Or, if it's late game, and you can hit them once, chances are sacrificing half your permanents till you only have him on the field and nothing else, or a few other demons, it'll be worth it because you'll hurt them more than you at that point. And if nothing else, them sacking half their permanents at least once will probably be in your favor. Angel of Despair. 5/5, flying, not bad. The fact that it's basically going to destroy anything when it hits, great for removal, always worth having. And finally, Angel of Serenity. I was a little on the ball about this one, or at least not quite sure. It doesn't do too much, because it's a flying 5/6, which isn't bad, but it only temporarily exiles them until she comes off the field, then they go back to their hand. On the other hand, if this is late game, there's a few players who might choose to let their generals be exiled and stay exiled, because getting it back into their hand is more tempting than paying whatever huge cost there will be later on for how many times they've died and been exiled. It can go either way. Well, I have a few more cards, but I won't bother with them. Like I said, they're mana artifacts that mostly are, take your pick. They speed up the deck, and the lands that fix it up. That's your choice. Either way, though, this is my slow game Kaalia EDH. It's meant to take advantage of any situation you need, beat your enemy down if you need it, and if anything else, you can just wipe the board. Alright, later. Did it stop recording? I don't think so.